And I still didn't touch on the doggone the scrambling thing on the keyboard with the world rulers. I was gonna weave it into the doggone Jesus story with Satan tempting him in the wilderness after the fast. All right, here it go. Each button on the keyboard that rules life, each button on this proverbial keyboard that I see, that I imagine, that I channel, that I see in prayer. One button is like the medical industry, one button is the education industry, another button is like finance, another button. So all of the different aspects and facets of society, those are different buttons on the keyboard. All of the institutions, all of the things that keep the world standing, not the earth, but the world standing. So whoever's getting ready to be ousted, they just remember how it used to sound when it messed the whole keyboard up. Forget about the home row. We just gonna type errors, and we're gonna type errors, and what happens is a red line under it when you got a typo, and you gotta go back, or else that typo is going to stay on there. And back in the day, you couldn't even print the paper out with the typo on it. Even if you felt like it was spelled right, you would still see a line. So people are still coming out with a line. And because they're still coming out with a line, they're pressing on the keyboard to scramble it. So an example of that would be if you're having drama at home, right? That might be the letter Q on your keyboard. Or let's say the letter H on your keyboard. H for home. And so W for work. You're bringing your problems from home to work and from work to home. So you're holding those two letters down on the keyboard at the same time, spelling nothing but a typo. Just holding it down. H-W, home, work. You're holding both keys down at the same time. And you're seeing that there is no continuity, no clarity of direction nor purpose for either home or work, because the two are bleeding over into each other to the point where they negate each other in terms of effectiveness for your life. And all kinds of other buttons. So right now, it's like after the pandemic, it was like the medical button's been hit. Medical key's been pressed. Education key's been pressed. The housing been pressed. The prison system been pressed. The entertainment, comedy, rap, politics. There's the whole keyboard. They pressing every button. They pressing all F5, F1. You know, when you hold on to the keyboard that long, old school style, floppy disk era. The computer, the monitor would make a sound and go, it'll buzz on you, literally buzz on you if you holding down too many keys. You're trying to press escape. A lot of people are trying to press escape, but they can't. No matter how many bottles they swig back, no matter how many blunts they run through, no matter how many lines they do, no matter how many needles they pop, no matter how many pills they pop, no matter how many people they sleep with, no matter how many people they rob, no matter how many people they beat up, they still cannot fill in the void. They still cannot manage to type out a sentence in their life, so they end up maybe serving a sentence for life because they don't have a sentence in their life, because they're holding all the keys down. They're not taking time to type. They're not even looking up at the screen. What they call it, you're hen pecking. They used to say that. Why you pecking? Why you pecking? We used to have to learn how to type. I'll be 42 years old this year. We used to have to learn how to type in school. Home row and everything. I don't even remember what it was now. Like QWERT, something like that. We've been texting using thumbs for about 20 years now. So, you know what I mean? But look, we had to do some term papers. There were some papers, so we had to be up in that doggone computer lab typing, and we remember all of these things. And so there's a keyboard. I sense, I feel, I perceive. The reason why I can't say text, even though that would be a more relevant term to use when it comes to scrambling the keyboard, is because you got autocorrect. You have autocorrect now, so AI will help you get to the word that you're trying to find. So we really can't use that for an example. You could drag your fingers along the screen as much as you want. You won't hear anything. unless you do something to cut the sound on. I think on the older phones, when the phones first started to get like this, where it was just screen, you would hear clicking. You would hear a whole bunch of clicking, right? And plus, not for nothing, that the sound of the typing of keys used to drive me crazy. I'd be in the computer lab, it's like 4 or 5 sisters in there, they rushing to get through their 10, 12, 15 page papers, and they got on long nails. They typing good though, but they typing too good. And it's just, you know what I mean? It was used to just drive me crazy. I'm like, look, I'm gonna come back in the computer lab after I get out the club. I want them to be going. I can't even think in here. Computer room, because I was going to them Ivy League schools, so it wasn't no rinky-dink computer room. It was like a room with like 50 Macs in it. But it would be full because college is college. You understand? So what you looking at now is just somebody just elbows and forearms all over the doggone keyboard, just popping the letters out now. The buttons are popping out of the keyboard. That's what's going on. Until finally somebody had to unplug and they said, you know what? We got to stop all of this. People holding on to these letters and the keyboard is somebody's pressing all the buttons in this world and messing it up. We need somebody who's going to put it under their thumbs. So now we text in 4D and 5D.